Absolutely phenomenal play. And that is a Eurostars win against the world champions, Seattle Riot. Can she reel it in? Yes, she can, as that disc dipped perfectly into her hands.
Welcome to the opening game of the Eurostars Tour. I'm delighted to be here in the booth. My name is Hannah Pendlebury and I'm joined this fine, warm San Diego evening by Shira Klein. Shira, how are you feeling about the matchup between these two teams?
I'm so excited to see Wildfire come out and take the first swing at this really talented Eurostars team that I've heard so much about.
Excellent. Well, to introduce the audience to you, Shira, this is your first time here in the booth, and we're delighted to have you sporting your San Diego Wolfpack jersey, the Premier Ultimate League team here in San Diego. Is that correct?
Well, we weren't quite in the Premier Ultimate League this year. This year it was just a series of a few games between there's an LA team, San Diego team, and Seattle team that we played a few games of, hopefully to lay the groundwork for something like the PUL next year.
Gotcha. Well, great to have you here. And where do you hail from originally? What's your story into Ultimate, Shira?
Yeah, originally I grew up in Minneapolis and played Ultimate at my summer camp when I was younger and at Hopkins High School, and then played at college at University of Wisconsin-Madison. Played with the Minneapolis Pop, the women's club team there for a couple of years, and then played on Boston Brood Squad for 4 years before heading out west to get away from the winter for a few years.
And in the Eurostars, as we see they're having their little huddle ahead of this game, will actually be going and playing against your former teammates over in Boston in a few days' time. It's a whistle-stop tour of the US that we have. 7 cities, 7 games as we dot, generally sticking to the coasts. Next up, after this game, we'll have Seattle Riot and then Fury, and we'll hop over across to the east side of the US. Say we'll be playing in Raleigh in North Carolina, Boston Brood Squad, as we almost already mentioned, Chicago Nemesis, and finishing off with Madison Heist. So we're bringing you action every few days or so up until the 27th of August. But this opening matchup, Shira, in terms of San Diego Wildfire, not necessarily one of the biggest household names on the US circuit, but certainly an up-and-coming team. Lots of young talent that we've seen representing at the college and national level. Saw a couple of their roster at the Under-24 Championship in Germany, but a few short weeks ago, the likes of Elimelech and Iwamoto gaining some gold medals there. But in terms of, if you're San Diego, how do you approach this Eurostars team that you've never seen in this formation before?
Yeah, I think when you're facing something new, the most successful plan is to go with what you know, to play within yourselves as a team, to go through the systems that you know well so that everyone can thrive in their roles that have already been established, rather than trying to meet another team where they are.
Perfect. Well, we're having our opening ceremony, just getting prepared. You see the flags there. There are 12 different European nations being represented by the Eurostars team, as they'll be lining up with their flags. Likes of Bex Forth, number 23, the captain. She's been appearing, of course, on this European Stars side. All 3 of the iterations thus far commenced in 2017. We've got a few returners. Fans of the Eurostars Tour will, of course, remember the likes of Dina Dumanskaya, Eliza Tizik, the 2 Russian players. Watch out for those two. The quite opposite size. Tizik, a very small player, and then Dumanskaya, of course, the tallest on this roster, 6'3" tall. Very hard to shut down in terms of throwing capability and, of course, receptions. Has anyone that's caught your eye from the Eurostars roster, Shira?
Not in particular, just because I haven't watched a lot of these women much before today, but I'm really excited to see, and I've seen Beck's fourth out there on the U.S. club scene before, and she's a force to be reckoned with for sure.
She certainly is the emissary of the European side, originally from Great Britain, and I believe, I'm not sure if twin sisters or sisters to Katie Forth down in Texas. Bex then joined her sister and that currently lives in Houston, but able to, of course, help with so much of the organisation of this tour, which takes a not insurmountable amount of effort. If you want to get involved and support the efforts of bringing the European All-Star team to the USA, you can still donate. We're accepting donations, so if you're enjoying the coverage here, please do consider doing that, because it would be much appreciated, helping these players to fund the travel over here. See nice smiling faces there from the Wildfire roster, who are able to sit in the shade. Some sun setting behind us, Shira, but how have the conditions been today?
Oh, just the classic San Diego perfection. It doesn't get too much warmer than mid 80s. It doesn't get too much cooler than high 60s. So you wouldn't know by the way people here talk about the weather. They talk about it with about the same variation as other places in the country and other places in the world, but it's pretty much always perfection.
Well, it is my first time in San Diego, and it's been very, very warm. The Eurostars players did have a scrimmage with each other earlier on today over by the coast, nearly in Mexico. Many of us lost our phone signals as we're trying to post on social media. And it's been one of the features of being in San Diego for the opener. Has been an absolute pleasure having game point performance. Goose and Kayla Helton able to come and help work with the athletes on the Eurostars side. And
yeah, that's great. Did you just do one workout, or how did it work? Have you been here for a few days?
So most of the team did arrive on Saturday, flying out from various locations with many stopovers along the way. I myself did get a direct flight, Shira. I was one of the bougie crew, flew into LAX and then drove down. So got to see a little bit of the coastline, but it's been a couple of days allowing the players to merge together as a unit. In comparison to the Wildfire side, they obviously have not necessarily played with each other before, some of them ever, but they have played against each other, so there is that sort of element to knowing kind of what the other likes. So there's been some intense scrimmaging, working on their structures. They do have a fairly set structure. You'll be able to, hopefully watch them execute that here on the field. A couple of pool plays, so see if you can spot those. But that's been the name of the game, really, just getting to know each other, hanging out at the house. A lot of the players are staying at one residence. A shout out to our hosts, Eric and Nikki. They've been wonderful letting us use their pool. But in terms of the preparation, that's what it's been. And Goose and Kayla have been helping us out with just generally the more kind of looking after the bodies. They're in charge. They've kindly lent us their warm-up, so that's the routine that all of the Eurostars crew have been using, and I can say, having done it myself, it's a really good way to prepare your body for Ultimate.
Yeah, great. It looked good.
So as we hear the rest of the rosters being announced, the two coaches at the far end of the Wildfire side, she just sort of came off of your screen, Andrea Dunn and Angela Wells. Dunn is the head coach, and we also have one of the former players for the Wildfire side helping out, Alicia, who stopped playing because she's expecting a baby.
Yeah, she's expecting her second, and I was just chatting with her before, and she's definitely happy to be through to the second trimester. She didn't have the best first trimester, which is often the case, which is even more impressive because she was coaching the UCSD women to their national championship win in her first trimester, so she's a beast.
Indeed. Well, it's one of the things that always impresses me, Shira, when female athletes put their body through the experience of having children and then come back to the field and dominate thereafter.
Yeah, it's incredible to watch some of these women, and it's incredible to watch them and hear their stories about how the process was for them, because it seems like no two stories are the same. So to have people come back in whatever form and in whatever time frame that was for them is always impressive.
And so it's getting some lovely scenes of the young players from Europe there. Paulina Dul there waving, one of the Polish players, her first year on the Eurostars tour. And you can see there's been some miscuing in terms of lining up for the ladies of Europe. And a player we've already talked about, Dina Domanskaya. The two Russians at the end of the line. So the two captains will now, well, I say captains, of course, one captain for Eurostars, but there's a unit for Wildfire. They have Hani Pajela, Lindsay Lang, and also, actually no, the third captain's disappeared from my roster sheet. Shira, any help?
I think 37, it looks like Hannah Walter, actually. And I'm not sure who.
So yes, we've got Walter,
Hannah Pajela and Hannah Walter and Lindsay Lang.
Well, she's on my roster as Hanny, which I'm very excited about, Shira, because that's also the shortened version of my name.
Yeah, I bet you didn't expect that from the Wildfire team, huh?
Oh no, I expect all kinds of great things from San Diego Wildfire. We have mentioned the fact that they have some big names that I've seen, I've commentated on before, so I'm thrilled about that. But speaking to their coaches ahead of this game, they did say that one of their diamonds in the rough is unfortunately coming back from, I believe, a hamstring injury. That's Laura Reyes. Did I just pronounce that one right, Shira?
Oh, I think Laura Waylets.
Oh, Laura Waylets. Sorry, no, it's Reyes that's got the...
Oh, Shelley May.
Yeah, sorry, Shelley May Reyes. There we go. I knew it was something. There we go. Fluffing on air.
Yeah.
But so that's one of the diamonds in the rough. Hopefully we'll see her recover and return to the field, though, for later on in the season in the US. Because, of course, these are wonderful stand-alone events. But in terms of where we're at in the season for San Diego, how does this fit into their USAU schedule?
Well, we're about mid-season through, so mid to late. So we're, mid-August, and Nationals, October, Regionals, September. So hopefully they're getting up to kind of peak level, but not quite trying to overdo it to burn out too early.
And so what is the qualification process for the USAU? Obviously, we all know about Nationals. It's a lot of hype around that. The streams do make their way across the pond to Europe. But how does it work in terms of the mechanics if San Diego want to get themselves at wherever Nationals is being held this season?
Yeah, well, they're actually in San Diego this year for the second time in a row, which is nice for Wildfire to kind of light that fire. It's all the more reason to qualify and do well so they can have their hometown fans supporting them. But yeah, it's a process of regular season performance along with a postseason series. So depending on how they do in the regular season, they might be able to bypass sectionals and then head to regionals. And then based on how many bids their region accrued through their regular season performance, then they'll likely be heading to nationals.
Excellent. Well, we will certainly be keeping our eyes to see how San Diego Wildfire do in the USAU season, as you say. Perhaps maybe bypassing sectionals, going straight to regionals, but we'll keep all of our fingers crossed.
And where are we in the Euro season? Are the different countries have different seasons, or where do they all fit together?
It's a good question. So the European season for club, at the moment, we're actually pretty much in the midst of European regional qualifiers. So the various EUCR and then another letter depending on which region, whether it's the West region, the East region. And so, for example, Bex and Amelia, so Kenneth and Forth are from the UK. And we've just had the regional qualifiers for the women's division in the UK. That was a couple of weekends ago. they will actually be missing the regional qualifier for the European club season. That happens at the very end of August, as they're the bank holiday weekend in the UK. But in terms of other different regions, some of those were this weekend just gone. It's a bit of a mix and a bit of a spread depending on where you happen to be located throughout Europe. But in terms of where it all comes together, that will be in October in Caol in Venice, which I'm delighted to say I've managed to snag a ticket to.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Which is not a bad place to really pay a visit, to be honest.
Yeah.
So that's what will be happening. Culminates at the end of the season in Italy, and you have all of the big club teams who will be there, all three divisions playing at once in the same place, open, mixed and women's. So it's quite the event.
Yeah.
So Wildfire coming out on defense. We saw there the graphic of the SoCal Team Condors sponsoring that first pull. Thank you ever so much for your contribution to the Eurostars tour, as we see Domanskaya finding Tizik up to fourth on the far sideline. Rapid fakes. Finds Melvin. Eurostars will be playing through two separate lines, trying to eke out those connections. Wildfire now managing to put some pressure on defense. Tizik, nice high release up to Melvin. Oh, fakes the offhand but punches in an easy backhand for the score, and the Eurostars put their first point on the board for this entire campaign, Shira.
Looked good, it looked good.
So let's get another look at that one. See that offhand fake from Sarah Melvin. Cheeky work from the 43. But a bit of a squeeze in there, not the biggest separation in the end zone, Shira.
Yeah, she really thread the needle there.
Tonight's game is being played to 15 points, with a halftime when the first team reaches 8. There will be no observers for this game, so the players will resolve their own calls quickly.
So Eurostars put their first on the board. Looked fairly comfortable, nice easy movement at the beginning. But then as we advance towards the end zone, San Diego seemed to tighten up those screws a wee bit.
Yeah, they were tight, but the quick movement of the Eurostars seemed to be really effective. They didn't need too much separation to complete those throws.
Well, that is the name of the game for both of these sides. Both have stated that one of their key objectives on offense when they have the disc is to try and play high tempo offense, try and move the disc quickly and see if they can catch the defense sleeping, perhaps. So with the disc in hand is the number 33, Paulina Dull, the Polish player. We get our first look at San Diego's offense. They think about the deep shot, but a bit of poaching off from Bringel. Opens up the far side, Grimshaw. It's going to launch it deep, but that's going to be far too far for Elimelech to bring in. Of course, Elimelech, a name we're used to hearing this season.
Yeah, definitely.
Highly decorated in terms of silverware, but also in nominations. I was reading up on Ultiworld about the fact that she was nominated as the Women's D1 Player of the Year and also made the first All-American team. So she's been making moves for the media. Of course, famous for that mermaid catch and obviously the huge layout in their quarterfinals at the college championships a few months ago. But the Eurostars with their opportunity for a first break. Oh, reaching behind grab from Ines Bringel. Puts it around. After races, big fake from Volchak. Looks back, doesn't like the look of the dump, manages to eventually find one. Back to Bringel in the centre. Volchak. Lots of isolated players up in the space. Kundalita back to Volchak, who's sporting a rather fetching neck scarf in orange. Not sure that matches the rest. Oh, that's a saucy inside shot though. Ines Bringel finds her teammate Shadlika for the score, and that's a break to the Eurostars.
And number 4, Grashnia Klibitska with the goal.
Yeah, it looked like Elimelech wasn't quite set on her mark to cut off that inside throw.
And she's got rather a large wingspan, so well played from the Eurostars to find the gaps in her force and punch that one in after an overthrow. So perhaps a little bit of double sadness for young Elimelech.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't get it off right away, then you probably don't have a good chance of getting it off with her on a set mark.
So you see fourth there, trotting back off to the sideline. And as I briefly mentioned, the strategy in terms of team management for the Eurostars is to have two separate lines in terms of trying to make those fast connections between their roster as soon as possible. Aline Rasta-Mondiaux there with the disc ready for the pull. Plays for the French women's national team and also the club side Yaka, although last season she did sneak across to play for the Italian club side CUSB Cusp Shout, and they took a gold there, the rather stacked out team. But another overthrow from San Diego's giving the disc
away. Looks like
away.
there's a foul call.
Oh yes, indeed. Solid hand signal game there, alerting us here in the booth. Well spotted, Shira.
Foul on the throw.
I believe is that Iwamoto on the disc? Oh, it is
yes.
Indeed. That's true. It's very rare to see Iwamoto throw further than she intends to. Absolute diamond of a handler. And it's been described as someone who plays defense like a shark amongst minnows. As we see another big shot going up, two players underneath it. Melbourne able to make a play, and that's the score for Wildfire.
Melissa Dunn with the score. And it looked like that was Iwamoto's intended receiver on the foul call, so it's always fun to just get a redo and put it exactly in the same hands.
Yeah, great boxing out there from Dunn. Really explodes out of the turf at the exact right moment to just... Melvin had a little bit of a look at it and she just closed the door, slammed it shut right in her face. And that's a great hold for Wildfire, much needed after taking that break in the second point. Already mentioned the coaching staff there as they're with their clipboards in hand. It's always a dynamite look there, the clipboard. Yeah. To be honest, as an individual, if you have a clipboard, you can pretty much go anywhere in life, I find.
Yeah, I think you automatically get a leader hat when you have a clipboard, even if you have no hat on your head.
Have you ever run stats for a team, Shira?
I think I helped when I just was one of 4 captains for one semester of my college career, and it wasn't for me. I was had too hard of a time kind of focusing on both playing and stats. It's quite consuming.
Oh, definitely. I think you need a designated person just doing the board. I once ran stats for my the open team at my university, went down to regionals with them, and it was very fun creating pie charts of throwaways and then presenting the information to them. It's all about, data visualization.
Yeah, I'd never seen pie charts before. That sounds like it would elucidate more than just number lines would.
But of course it is the crucial question of, is it in terms of unforced errors, was it a handler error or a receiver error? But that's no mistakes there from the Eurostars, going to ground. A little bit of a knee slide catch. Volchek again with the disc in hand, has a completely open target in the backfield. Dahl absolutely sneaky into the end zone like a ninja.
Yeah, it was unclear who the defender was.
Well, that's great heads-up stuff from the Eurostars, putting their third point on this board here. Yeah, not sure who was poaching off there, couldn't quite see it, but either way, capitalization from the Eurostars, and they lead now 3-1 in this opening game. And of course, we're fighting here. Well, I say we are. You and I, Shira, are. Thankfully, we're going to just sit here in the booth and enjoy the balmy conditions with the sunset behind us and the moon just coming out in front. It's a fine San Diego evening, very nice to be here. We've got fans in the stands, the atmosphere is great. But we're playing here for the Americus Cup. So it's a scoring system depending on how much you win each game by. Team America versus Team Europe. And so obviously it will be consistent with the roster for the Europeans. 16 pairs of legs. Recovery is going to be very important.
That's not too many subs.
Yeah, lots of getting in the ocean. How do you recover as a player from big games?
I really like yoga in general, both before and after. And with some of my teams, we've done some yoga sessions, and it's really nice to get everyone breathing together in addition to the physical preparation. But I've been definitely guided towards the big huck by Ali Malik into the hand. Intended for Cortez, just batted away by Eurostars defender.
Yeah, Tizik there making the play. Nice shot from Ali Malik, perhaps a wee bit dialed in though. Didn't quite have the level of separation she might have hoped to. But again, we see Wildfire throwing it away on a big shot. So Mondio, already mentioned, goes by Rasta. In fact, I believe the only people that call her Aline, which is her first name, the only people who call her that are her parents. So Mummy and Daddy Mondio, if you are watching, welcome to you. And if you are tuned in here on this live stream from the far side in Europe, staying up late, please do let us know.
Another hack from the Eurostars.
Oh, and a big play, but just snatched away. Ella Melik and a sandwiching. I think that's Kenneth there.
And Melissa Dunn with the steal away D.
Great work there. Two players just working together to force that error. So it looked a little bit like Ella Melik had gone up too early, but that's a beautiful shot. Oh, what a throw from San Diego. Iwamoto opening it up big. Ella Melik on the goal line now. She's going to pop it up. Faking the offhand, punching it in, just a cheeky flick. And it's good enough into the box of Lang for another score. Eurostar still leading by that one break, but that's a nice way to get the disc back after that overthrow.
Especially impressive with that disc hanging just out of the hands of the 6'3" Dumanskaya.
Look out for that cheeky offhand fake there. A nice powerful explosion just towards from Lang. So in terms of adjustments you'd make here, Shira, at the moment we're seeing Wildfire throwing it a wee bit too long, maybe a bit of nerves, you know, this game being a bit of an addition to their regular season, maybe not having the full preparation for it. What would you like to see from them in terms of difference here?
Well, I think now that they've threatened deep and they've put it and they've shown the Eurostars that they're willing to put it deep, maybe now fake the deeps and come under if it's not quite there.
Well, so 5 points into this game, still early days. Of course, we'll be playing to half-time at 8, full game to 15. I don't think we had a single game that expired over the time cap last season for this Eurostars tour. Lang ripping up a big backhand ball that's going to sit and hang very nicely. Fielded by Bringel. Chibitska back to Bringel. Oh, bit of a wobble there on that swing pass. Trying to attack downfield. Oh, and a layout grab. That was phenomenal stuff. Kublichka keeping the disc alive with a hero bid. Volchak finds Kublichka. She didn't put it up big. That's a bit of a hospital pass. Who's going to read it? Oh, what a play from the San Diego defender, just ripping it out of the sky. Kristen Pojunas. Well, that's a name we're familiar with saying.
Yeah, she's played on Junior Worlds teams and Team USA beach teams.
Indeed, she got a beach championship with Point Break, and of course, as you mentioned, those youth division golds in 2015 and 18 under 24s with the mixed team. Big level of contact from Bringel there.
No
coming
foul.
In. Yeah, Aubrey Brown not making any foul calls on that one. Bringel picks it up. Swings around. Dull. Eurostars very close to the goal line now. Kublichka playing actually on a sprained ankle from 5 days ago. A nice high release from Dul, a little bit risky. Gražina Šiblička there, na number 4, getting us underway from the handler space. Fiery fakes from Brinjel, eventually pops it up to Levko Volchak.
Oh, sick! And Ellie Melik with a clutch layout D.
Oh, the pressure enough. I think that one bounced out of Volchak's hands like a piece of toast in the morning.
Does your toast bounce in the morning?
It depends. Sometimes, if you've got a light English breakfast muffin, it can just, you know, be overcome and just pop up a little bit. Oh, is that a cheeky scuba over the top? Yes, it is. Saucy stuff from Lindsay Lang.
She's a phenomenal thrower.
She's putting her name all over this game thus far. Oh, but it's a big layout bid far side for the Eurostars to get it back. Gražina Šiblička. Even as a European, Shira, I sometimes struggle with the name pronunciations. But by game 7, I hope to have them locked in. So, the Eurostars disc back in hand. Volchak fighting against Ella Melik. I like that matchup between those two. Ella Melik with great stature, but Volchak a very fiery player with a wonderful Instagram presence, which I've already name-checked earlier this season. Attempt there from Pajunas to get the layout block, but didn't quite come good. Eurostars being forced to generally swing it around the back though, not making too many yard gainers, don't need to, close to the end zone. Oh, and a cheeky offhand throw from Livka Volchak.
Again, IO small window feed.
We've seen a lot of players this season, Shira. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's so many individuals using that offhand fake or that offhand throw. It's not always the prettiest. You saw a little bit of wobble there as it went into the path of Ines Brinjel, but it's how do you feel about it? Because I'm not convinced.
Yeah, no, I've seen the lefty backhand explode the past few years as I've watched some players, and it's rampant in college, and it's really fun to watch because if you're playing smart defense, you're not necessarily defending against it, so it's just on the thrower to get that off.
Well, that's the thing. We might see defenses now have to change their strategy to try and shut down the offhand flobbly wobbly backhand.
It's the official name.
Well, I don't know. It's not the official name, but I feel like having said that, it might become it now, which is a terrifying prospect. I've already become a meme once this season. Hopefully not again, but we'll have to see. So that's
what was the first one?
A dime of a backhand. I believe I have on Twitter 10-yard backhand to thank for that, but that's a bit of a low pull there from Dina Domanskaya. Going to be capitalized on by Kelly Iwamoto. Finds Lang near side. Nice around break. Grimshaw not able to find much movement upfield. Centres back to Lang. Across to Frankel. Oh, nice low little air bounce on that lefty backhand. Looks like that is the dominant hand of choice though for Frankel. Have to keep watching to see if that is indeed the case. It certainly is. Look at those lefty fakes. I love lefty handlers, really bring so much spice in addition to the game. Changing things up, Iwamoto far side's going to punch it into the back corner, and that's gold for San Diego. Good enough, but there's a pit call by the looks of the hand signals to see Brittany Grimshaw there sporting a fetching visor. Not often you see the visor these days. It's more of an old school look.
Might be making a comeback.
Perhaps. Oh, I was initially a fan of the visor myself, Shira, and then switched to a full trucker cap because I kept getting too many burns on my sort of
scalp
parting line. Yes.
Yeah.
So Elimelech, high reaching grab on the far sideline, and that's a nice little just pop out into the space. Grimshaw uses her legs and gets under it with lethal pace.
Fun fact, Grimshaw just got a hamster. We have any hamster lovers, parents out there? Grimshaw has joined your club.
Have you ever owned a hamster, Shira?
No, I've been more into pets that are less rodent-y than hamsters myself. But they seem easier to take care of than others, so I can respect it.
I used to have guinea pigs.
Oh, okay.
Similar.
Multiple at a time or one after another?
2. I mean, it's nice to give them company, especially when they live outside in a hutch. But if you're a fan of animals more generally, which most Ultimate players do seem to be, because, you know, there seems to be a lifestyle going on with that, you can get in touch with us. If you want to give us fun facts about the players in front of you, or just want to shout out, I did say, if you're watching this live from Europe, welcome to you. You are obviously an absolute trooper, hardcore Ultimate fan, because it is very, very early in the morning over back home in the UK. My laptop is still set to UK time, and it's 3:30 AM, and that's of course GMT, but we might have fans from perhaps the Central European time, 1 hour ahead, and even from further across. So if it is the early hours of the morning for you, you can get in touch with me on Twitter or Instagram. I'm at DiscGal31, so DISCGAL31. And Shira, do you have a social media presence the fans can get in touch with?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. I do a lot of retweeting or reading and not so much.
But what's your handle so the fans can give you a shout?
I'm stalling until I look it up because I can't even remember. Shira125, real creative over here.
Oh, well, we won't diss your creativity. As you see the Eurostars coming out in firing form, nice rapid pace and movement. Commentators curses though, of course, as we slow things down. That was a near run-through block there. Great speed from Pagela. Dole up to Bringel. Nice expansive shot. That's visionary stuff. Huge play from the Eurostars, finds Kundalita near side, and that's a beautiful bit of play there from the Eurostars.
Jasmine Childress of Wildfire really closed out, but couldn't quite get there all the way.
Now that is what you call an expansive throw, Shira.
How many of the Eurostars this year played last year and or the year before?
This is a very good question, Shira. Well, in terms of returners from last season, we have Bringel, the number 7, Kubrička from Latvia, Lasma, she's 2018 as well. Fun fact about Lasma Kubrička, she actually, as I mentioned briefly during play, she sprained her ankle 5 days ago.
Oh, wow.
And you honestly wouldn't be able to notice. She's a true Latvian powerhouse. They play through anything. Their under-24 team had but 15 players.
Wow.
A whole week-long tournament with just 15. It was very, very impressive. But in terms of other returners, we had Betty Schneidl from 2017, the first year of Eurostars. We'll talk about the other returners in just a moment, but focusing on the play here as a sneaky thief in the form of, I think that's Melvin with that run through, just snaffling the disc up. Montiel now centre of the field, considers the around flick, throws it, but it's going to be a little bit too far. Honestly, I think, actually no, that might have been Toshnerova there with the run through play, but that was spicy stuff from the defense of the Eurostars.
Yeah, just a little poach off the wide handler, enough to get in there.
So a nice, inside and again, just throwing straight into traffic. Heads up play from Bexforth and an immediate conversion this time. Just below the knees of Sarah Melvin. We see the Eurostars now begin to stretch a lead ahead, 6-3 now above San Diego's Wildfire. They just seem to know what San Diego want right now.
Yeah, the handlers are giving each other good space, but then unfortunately that allows the defenders to poach off and get in the throwing lanes to generate these Ds.
Maybe that's the thing they need to change, is communicate a little bit better. I know I've been stood on the field many a time as a handler, completely poached off, my defender in the lane, and just, you got to scream and shout, you know, make yourself visible and heard.
Yeah.
Are you a downfield or a backfield player, Shira?
I'm usually a handler, usually D-line handler, so when I'm in that role where my defender's poaching off, my favorite thing to do is just bust deep, and it's always fun playing with cutters that are really strong throwers as well to then fill in if I don't make it all the way back.
Well, Shira, I don't know if it's fate, but we're the same. as we hug in the booth.
It is fate. It is fate.
Maybe that's the thing. All D-line handlers should become commentators. I don't know. We'll have to test that theory at some point. See how we go.
As the moon brightens in front of us.
Indeed, it's an absolutely gorgeous evening here. Fair conditions to play Ultimate. Local time is now 35 minutes past 7 in the evening. So we've had 30 minutes of play here in San Diego as Wildfire now on the attack. Lang with good central field position. Another spicy scuba from her, and 3 touches required to reel it in for Grimshaw, who's going to launch it deep, and that's a sensational play for San Diego. What a find. Diaz with the ash blonde hair in the end zone. So look at that composure for days. Grimshaw pulling it in, then launching it deep.
Yeah, Wildfire's been down since the beginning, but they're still playing to attack, which is awesome to see, and that'll serve them well as the game goes on.
We hear this stadium announcer there talking about winning prize, doing some sort of spooning egg toss frisbee. I'm delighted to see. I don't think we'll necessarily be bringing you the action live from that, but we'll bring you a report from the halftime shows here live in San Diego. And if you are enjoying the coverage, delighted to say that we are here for a further 6 games. If you want to find out exactly what the schedule is, or if you're blessed enough to live in the US of A and you fancy getting yourself out to one of those games, you can find all the information on social media, so Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. That's at Eurostars Tour, all one word, or www.eurostarstour.com. You can get all the information you could ever need. You can buy your tickets. We've got some wonderful fans out here in front of us in the stands. Any folks you recognise? Any teams maybe being represented here?
I see some Santa Barbara Condors. I see a lot of guys repping some Wildfire jerseys, and some guys from the San Diego Growlers, it looks like. The men's pro team out here.
Of course, and that is the AUDL. We are sponsored by the AUDL, is the Eurostars Tour, so pleasure to have them doing their bit for the women's pro scene as well as for the gents. And thank you especially to the San Diego Growlers, who are, of course, the hosts of this game, as we see forth powering it
Another
deep.
big hook.
Launching it. It's going to be received by Melvin!
That's a huge play! Clean-up catch!
Sarah Melvin putting the Eurostars on her back, keeping that disc alive after it would just sail a little too far, it seemed. And that's how you have to play Ultimate. You just have to go. It ain't over till it's over.
It has just seemed throughout this first half that there are 2 Eurostar players for every one Wildfire. They're making up ground, they're helping each other out.
And you have to give absolute credit there to Kristen Pajunas. Really did a phenomenal job of boxing out Amelia Kenneth. Nothing she could have really done. She'd already used all of her momentum to just jump out of the turf and try and make that play for the disc. Just nothing she could do but look over the shoulder and watch Melvin make that absolute hero play. Nice to see Melvin this season not taking any injuries. She played a couple of games at the last Eurostars Tour one-handed, which is just a testament to just how good the young Irish woman is. And she picked up a gold medal at the European Championships in Hungary a couple of months ago. It was an interesting experience for everyone involved. I'm sure any European Ultimate players will tell you.
How so?
It was an interesting in terms of organisation. There was some. It was definitely some good heat conditioning for being out here in the warmth of the US, perhaps without necessarily all the water you'd like to be consuming. But we managed it. We didn't have anyone fall to heat exhaustion, and by the end of the week, it was all good. And of course, as I say, Melvin picking up that gold medal with the Irish women's team, which saw many scubas. So I'm sure San Diego Wildfire would be happy to watch that game, as they've been throwing some sensational ones of their own. This is good movement now. Lang's going to put up
another hug
a big
from
one
Lang
to Ellen Ellick.
Beautiful. Beautiful, but not surprising for Ellie Malik to come down with that
Beautiful movement out there.
So that is a beautiful play. Elimelech using that expansive, rangy stature to keep this half alive. Of course, the Eurostars 1 point shy of half-time here, which will be kind of 8. There's a little shot there. The delightful Hugo. That's one of Beck's fourth children helping out here, volunteering. We're blessed with a wonderful volunteer crew. So many folks turning out to support this project, make the dream happen here. Nice to see the San Diego Wildfire roster still pumped up though. A little bit of celebratory like dancing ahead of the point. And to talk about players, Lindsay Lang for Wildfire's having a heck of a game thus far. Both sides of the disc, big defensive efforts, but also, as we've already mentioned, what a thrower she is.
Yeah, I've tried to guard her a few times at Ultimate out here in San Diego with an emphasis on the try.
Yes, I believe the coaches of Wildfire were mentioning that they'd also tried to mark Beck's fourth and her sister Katie a few times. That's also tricky, but the stands now getting fired up to try and just help generate a bit of fire for San Diego. Literally ignite a spark, see if they can prevent the Europeans from taking half. Domanskaya with the disc in hand. We've spoken about some of the medals earned this season. She's got a gold European Beach Championship, which she actually beat her teammate Levka Volchak for that one. So a bit of a spice there, but then the fates were reversed in terms of the grass championships. Sorry, not the grass championships, I take it back. Club level beach the previous season, where Levka's Seagulls of Hamburg, Germany, managed to snag that one against Cosmic Girls of Russia. So Monzio, far sideline, looking a little bit lost for options, eventually puts one out. Oh, huge effort from San Diego, but not able to prevent the pass. Tizik up to Domanskaya. Big rangy thrower, fourth. Snaps the fake, eventually finds, I think that's Anna Gerner there. It is indeed, with the red headband. Someone who I often talk about her headwear when I'm commentating her games. Nice to see her not sporting the cap, but instead a fiery red headband. Tizik puts an expansive around, a little bit of an adjustment from fourth, but able to keep possession alive. Doshnerova, the Czech player, eventually finds Beck's fourth from static. Just no movement upfield right now. Seems like the Eurostars have gone to sleep, but Tizik puts it up big. It's going to be a little bit too far though. Oh my goodness, what a huge play from Rebecca, fourth. But the catch layout's just not quite worked out. I think she's calling him an injury over there. And the captain of the Eurostars side will come off the field. Hopefully just a bit of catching her breath. And she'll be replaced by Sarah Melvin of Ireland.
A lot of respect for laying there, not making a bid on that dangerous play at that angle.
Well, that's what it's all about, knowing when you can and when you can't. And Dina Elimelech can make huge plays like that, keeping possession alive. Wildfire really need this one. Tizik hot on the heels of Lang. Sorry, no, Bajunas, I take it back. As Kirsten turns her back towards me. Elimelech surveying the field, using her height, just no one in the way of her eyesight there. Nice pop play up the sideline, momentum for Lang, she's going to launch it, and that's good for San Diego. Bajunas with the score, keeping it alive. They close in on the Eurostars, just 1 point behind now. Are we going to see this one maybe go to Galaxy Point here, Shira?
That's what the fans are probably hoping for, right? Tune in for an exciting first half and get a whole nother second half to go for it again.
And what a difference in that point, Shira. It just seemed, do you think it was a case of the Eurostars maybe running out of steam a little bit, getting a bit nervous? But it just seemed like San Diego were in all the right places poached off.
Yeah, it seemed like San Diego had the fire to really explode off their cuts, to play hard D, when the Eurostars might have gotten a little complacent after feeling comfortable with the lead the whole first half.
Well, the live announcers getting involved with the crowd, asking if they think that the Eurostars or San Diego are going to take half. Shira, you're going to be, a bit out there, going to put your money on anyone right now?
I'm not a betting woman, so I'm going to keep my money in my pocket.
But if I had to, Shira, if I had to make you choose one right here, right now, who do you favour at the moment?
I got to go with our hometown favorites, Wildfire. I think the team cohesion will carry them through to the W today because both teams look really strong athletically, have all the skills, but I think that cohesion will come into play later.
And that does seem to be what's happening. They're now finding a bit more of their form. Certainly early stages, they were just a case of maybe a little bit too much time in the gym, a bit too powerful on those throws, but seem to have cleaned it up here and are coming together nicely. And, Ultimates are a game where, the field time is quite long. There's certainly plenty of opportunity for momentum swings. And if they can come out fired up again and really put that pressure on the Eurostars offense, if they take this one, I reckon that'll see them going through to taking the half, because it just gives them that extra momentum. 3 points on the trot. Be a nice way to close out the first half, that's for sure. And so if you are joining us live, if you fancy getting in touch with us, what was the Twitter handle for you again, Shira?
Shira125.
Shira125. Well, I can actually say we've definitely got Nate Bridges on board. Hello, Nate. Nate are gonna hate. A fun fact about Melissa Dunn, she claims to be from Minnesota, but is actually from Gilbert, Arizona. There you go, a bit of juicy information for you there. So the Eurostars on the charge, trying to grab their opportunity to close out this first half with a lead. Dole's going to put it up deep. Huge separation in the backfield. Lindroth pops it back. Nice play. Just no one there on defense, and an easy score for the Europeans. Maya Lindroth reeling it in after that huge reception. Just completely exploded the coverage there. Smart defensive work there from San Diego. I think that's Melissa Dunn. We were talking about guarding Lindroth, but eventually just getting a bit distracted. So the Eurostars lead 8-6 in this first half. They take it, will advance with a lead. That's 3 breaks clear of San Diego, but staying over till it's over. We'll take a short break for halftime and have a few words at some of our sponsors here. Stay tuned.
Phenomenal play. And that is a Eurostars win against the current world champion, Seattle Riot. To Laura Ferrofi, can she reel it in? Yes, she can, as that disc dipped perfectly into her hands.
team, obviously you have your superstars from your local community here. But we know also that every community we go to visit, that there are special individuals putting a lot of effort and time and energy into empowering women and girls locally. So we would like to celebrate a couple of those local stars, and we call those empowerment champions. So officially, it's in recognition for their invaluable contribution to empowering women and girls and adding value by improving, developing, inspiring, promoting and supporting female athletes. So our first empowerment champion is Enway Relo. But we know how much she's been doing in the local community. We know that she's been playing in lots of divisions, but also coaching Occidental College to the D3 College Championships. I'm sure you agree that she's the type of person who just brings her energy to the needs of the community, and those are the champions that we really want to honour. And she's our empowerment champion for tonight. And we have another one who is currently here in the stadium, so I'd like to ask Alicia Stan to come out. I mean, she's a past president of Jude. She's changed the format to the current format, improving it, bringing the community in together, pulling in committees, local volunteers, and of course, coaching the current national college champion. We know that San Diego are very happy to have you in their community, so please keep going.
Good job, Greg.
Let's hear it for these two incredible empowerment champions. And we'll be starting the second half in about 4 minutes. So now's a good time to go get some pizza, get some cold drinks and sodas from the concession stand, or pick up some Eurostars merchandise to support a great cause and get some cool swag.
There is water and Coca-Cola available in the cooler down there. We kind of just found it. So apologies to anyone who has turned away. We do have waters and sodas. So thank you.
And great waters and sodas, I bet they are, Justin.
Welcome back to the action here at the Americus Pro Cup, also known as the Eurostars Tour. My name is Hannah Pendlebury. I'm joined in the booth this fine evening by Shira, a San Diego Ultimate local, hailing from a little bit further afield though in the USA originally. And we just were treated to a wonderful halftime show, which started out with, I don't know, I'll let you describe it, Shira. What went on in the field in front of us?
It looked like a basic throwing drill, but with a little more entertainment value, where we had partners lined up across from one another, and they had to toss the disc to one another and catch it without moving their feet.
Indeed, and we see a bit like how the players are currently spread out for the Eurostars. Nice little long shot there of Maya Lindroth, who scored the final point of the first half. The Eurostars currently in the lead here, 8-6. And there's a nice shot there of the cup that, of course, all these teams are respectively fighting for. The Americus Cup, nice and shiny. We did, of course, see also the empowerment champions being honoured there, including Alicia Stown, one of the San Diego Wildfire individuals. We were talking a little bit up here in the booth, though, about the Dude League, the Diego Ultimate Disc Experience, who I believe, Shira, cancelled their league night so that they could come out and support. But is there anyone else on San Diego Wildfire who's involved with that?
Yeah, Lindsay Lang, one of the stars of the first half, both on OND, is chair of the youth committee, I believe.
Oh, and a little spot there, actually, just fading out of your shot. You got at the top left corner, if you were watching this one back, perhaps not live, and you want to rewind, there's a cheeky appearance from all the way from Germany. The women's coach, Marco Müller, is present in the stands. We've spotted him. He's just to our left here. And some gymnastic displays from the young fourth kids. That's Hugo there with the I think he's got himself a dude cap, actually. Oh no, sorry, it's his little brother Felix who's got the dude. That's a different one. I think that's Savage Lego there. Other Ultimate suppliers are, of course, available. But in terms of the story of the first half, the Eurostars did come out and look very dominant. What do you think we can maybe hope to see from the second half from San Diego, Shira?
Yeah, I'm hoping to see a couple more defensive looks. It's not too windy, so I wouldn't necessarily expect to see much zone, especially with the Eurostars' strong cross-field swings and narrow window feeds. But maybe some junky looks, maybe kind of match what the Eurostars have done with poaching the lanes to generate some extra Ds.
Well, that certainly was in the latter stages of the first half. Seemed to be the thing to their kind of credit that got them that turnover, got that break back to try and eke out some feathers from the cushion that the Eurostars sit on. That's a mighty fine pass, far side. Diaz with the reception. Lang now across to Iwamoto. Pops it back. Great distributor that Lang is. Finds the near sideline, but back into the safe hands. Getting every other pass at the moment is Lindsay Lang. Cheeky offhand, backhand, but that's smooth as silk. Ella Melek pops it back once more. Diaz throws the fakes. Eventually finds Walter. Back to Lang. Opens up a huge high one. That's going to be tipped out of the air, though. Very well defended. That's Dull there. Just getting enough of a fingertip on the disc to put it out of contention. Good patience, but eventually frustration from San Diego Wildfire, trying to punch it in a bit too hastily. Coming out on offense in the second half. Trubitska near sideline. Look how much the force is pressing her into very tight channels. Throws up a risky biscuit. It's going to top out of the hands. Great play and pressure by Diaz and Lang there. Managing to prevent the pass. Must have been a high stall on that one. Ella Melek. Nice find on the far side. Cohen has Iwamoto going up line. Oh, nearly a run through defensive play from Dull. Great composure from Iramoto, finds a target, and that's a nice hold for San Diego. They put the first point on the board for the second half and close up the gap once more.
Wildfire 7, Eurostars 8. And again, the winner
8-7 out of half feels a lot different than 9-6.
Team Americus.
It certainly does, Shira. And we're in with quite the game here, I feel. It's nice to see both teams really kind of finding a bit of momentum. And San Diego, I mean, the quality of their throws, they did get a little bit hasty on the initial offensive possession. That sort of slightly too high disc that had to be really run down as the defender closing in on the channel, able to make the play was still. But certainly some fiery defense to get the disc back. Nice. I like how the defensive unit of the San Diego side, Wildfire, really working well in pairs. We saw in the first half when the disc went up to Amelia Kenneth, I think it was, we saw a sort of double play, one going up making the offender have to go up nice and early, the other one just kind of coming in and clearing out the trash just to make doubly sure. Which is really nice to see that you talked about them being, Shira, more of a unit together than the Eurostars side. Of course, this is their club team. These are all the familiar faces they train with week in, week out, and I think that's really starting to show here. So Kirsten Pajunas there, getting ready for the poll. The young player with 2 mixed under 24 golds to her name. Works at a DNA sequencing company, actually, with her fellow teammate Kelly Iwamoto. Always love to find out the occupations of ultimate players, because there's so many very intelligent individuals who play this sport. Of course, in Europe, most of these individuals will have learned their craft initially at university, which is not the case so much for the USA side. As you see, Bexforth putting a big one up to Dumanskaya. A nice, easy work for the Europeans, punching in their first point of the second half. 9-7 now they lead. Good flow found, and you see why that disc went up a little bit close to that far side though, no Shira.
Yeah, it's a tight window, but Eurostars seem to have had no problem with tight windows so far. When you have a 6'3" wingspan to throw to, that's a gamble I'd take every time.
Well, interestingly, Dumanskaya doesn't really tend to play downfield very often. It's been something we've seen her come into specifically this season. Dumanskaya having traditionally favoured playing in the women's division in Europe, so playing with her club side Cosmic Girls, who have a absolutely stunning Instagram presence. If you like seeing attractive athletic women in fur, then definitely jump onto their Instagram presence. But Dumanskaya this season specifically, along with many of her teammates from the Russian women's side, decided to go and play in the mixed division so that they could play with some of their partners. Some of them are married to fellow national ultimate players, and we've seen her now advance to the kind of downfield positions, cutting and using that wingspan, not just to break marks with lethal effect, but also, as you say, be that target in the deeper space. Saw her and her teammate Sasha Pustavaya being isolated very well, especially on beach. So Diaz back to Iwamoto. Nice find around the lefty Emma Frankel. Not really much movement coming from Wildfire upfield. Eventually Diaz now getting involved, being faked away by Lang. He's going to pass it around to Elimelech. Oh, and she's going to throw an absolute beast of a backhand, and it's going to be a real deal. What a read! My oh my, I wasn't sure that Melissa Dunn had any kind of position on that, but what a grab! And here it is, Shira, the throw that made me briefly lose my words. What a release from Dina Elimelek. And she'll be delighted to watch that one back, I'm sure. Nice little celebratory dance there from Dunn.
Dunn has an adorable golden retriever named Zoe, which couldn't be a more perfect fit. She just has the personality and energy of a golden retriever if I've ever seen a human embody one of one.
Well, great to see San Diego getting a bit of swagger back in their legs. We did see them celebrating, keeping the energy high as they started to advance in the latter stage of the first half, getting those all-important break back, trailing only by 1 point here. See if they can maybe level it up. So we see a mix of nationalities there in the line in front of you. You've got Great Britain in the form of Amelia Kenneth on the far side. Domanskaya, the Russian, we've already spoken about many times this game. Aline Mondiaux from France. Anna Gerner from Germany. Another British originally, but a bit of an American import now, back and forth. Sarah Melvin of Ireland. And of course, Alicia Tizik, the little one from Russia, who's been all over the European live stream, Shira. She scored the winning point in the final of the Beach Championships in the women's division this year down in Portimao, which is the hometown of Inês Bringel, who is also there with the Portuguese mixed team, doing some damage, nearly getting into the bronze medal match. Seems to be cursed with only 4th places though. No current medals to her name, apart from of course the proud winner of the Americus Cup last season with this team. So Domanskaya sends midfield, finds Gerner. Nice inside shot to 4th, who's poached off by San Diego. Melvin now far side. Lots of lateral movement with the disc at the moment. Doesn't seem to be gaining much upfield. 4th isolated completely again, poached off by the mark of Pajunas. Tizik far side. See Lang being moved around there on the force. Pick downfield, going to give us a brief pause. Loving the look of this matchup though. Dina Elimelek versus Dina Domanskaya. The Dinas, well, hold on. Battle of the Dinas, definitely. The Dina Derby, as it were. Oh, big bit of contact there, but great positioning from Dunn. And she gets the job done, gives it off to a huge throw. Elimelek surveying the options in front of her, going to need to find a reset, does so in the form of Lindsay Lang. Oh, but that's a crucial error for San Diego, so close to leveling it back up. Can they come out again on defense and do it once more? And a timeout there from Mondiaux. Unsurprising to see after that. Got a little bit testy during that point. But what a shame to see Lang not able to get her hands around that fairly easy dump pass. Perhaps thinking about the pass before she'd made the catch, Shira.
Yeah, it's hard to see. Her back was towards it, so I don't know if the disc had a funny wobble to it or if it just left her hands.
But either way, that's the kind of offense you want to play when you're ever so slightly behind in a game. That just, I forget who it was that made that. No, sorry, it was Dunn, wasn't it? That made that great heads-up positioning defensive play. Didn't have to really explode in terms of direction, just was in the right place at the right time, made the snag, popped it off, and then just off to the races went San Diego Wildfire. We do have some attendance here on the live stream from Europe. Hello to Jamie Graham, who's been enjoying the coverage from back home in Europe. And is that a shot of the golden retriever of Natalie Dunn? Oh, sorry, not
Melissa Dunn.
Melissa Dunn, sorry. There we go. Getting
like
names confused here in the booth. Oh, I've done that before though, Shira. I have to say, there is a team in the UK, nice Bristol women's ultimate, I take it back, they've had a name change, rebrand as it were. There's a player called Rachel Dean, who I called for an entire game, Shira, as Anna Dean, and they now of course all call her Anna. So maybe that's the case, we'll see young Melissa Dunn be referred to as Natalie. Who knows?
It fits. Sounds better with the British accent, so I'll let you call her Natalie, I'll call her Melissa.
Well, either way, I'm really enjoying the mid-stage of this game. We're moving towards the business end, as it were. This game, of course, will cap out at 15. But there we are. A nice bit of flourish as well in the hairstyle, some ribbons or some scrunchies perhaps for Dunn. But the Eurostars coming out in a horizontal stack out of their timeout. Rasta, Aline Mondiaux, with the disc just behind her back, tucked in, make sure it can't be tapped in too soon. And immediately there's a flurry of cuts downfield. Gerner, nice big low backhand fake, finds Melvin. Nice body and keeping Pajunas on her back as she adjusted her movement towards the disc. Gerner finds Tizik on the goal line, close opportunity, reaching, popping out of the turf. Aline Mondiaux with the score for the Eurostars, and they advance their lead now back to 2 points, 10-8. And so not the largest channels, not the biggest separation for the Eurostars there, Shira, but effective all the same.
Yeah, it looked like Juliana Jordan Tara was protecting the front corner of the end zone, which is what you want to do in there, but then the throw just went up and over as Cutter was going to the back corner.
I think if I had to award one side credit for being a bit more expansive with their throws, I think it would have to be the Eurostars at the moment. They have had some really nice visionary stuff. I remember back in the first half that just sensational throw across into the end zone, across the field from Bringel. But I have to say, the spice of the Wildfire throws. We've seen, I think, 3 completed scubas, including the one that Grimshaw had to touch a solid 3 times before she reeled it in and then launched it deep. But I have to, it'd be nice to see maybe Wildfire opening up the field a little bit more with their throws, but at the moment, they're doing so well to try and squeeze the Eurostars into uncomfortable channels, make them play small windows, thread those needles, and they just seem happy to do that at the moment. So, Lang getting us underway with Iwamoto, the national representing player, snagging the goal earlier this season. That's a beautiful huck for Wildfire. They're going to overthrow it though. Can she couldn't quite lay it out. Got excited there. Brittany Grimshaw tried to say her name. It just wouldn't come out of her mouth. But what a play. You can see the disappointment there on her face.
Come on, Hannah!
So a tight game still. A 2-point window for the Eurostars as we see Volchak bring it back in. Already mentioned that her coach is in the stands as she throws it into the turf. Ines Bringel doing everything she could, rolling around to try and redeem that pass, but nothing she could do. Lang now across to Iwamoto, centre of the field. Nice rapid movement. Frankel. Sorry, no, not Frankel. I did spot a 3. That's Hannah Walter in the centre of the field. Iwamoto. Back to Walter. Lots of fakes. Finds Grimshaw. No mistakes this time. Again, we're seeing this time the Eurostars making Wildfire have to play in quite uncomfortable channels, trying to pin them onto the near sideline. Oh, the hander set going to work. Nice blade over the top to Lang. Runs it down nicely. Walter dishes it out into the end zone, and that's tasty stuff for San Diego. a score to bring it back. And now the Eurostars only lead by 1. We talked about being a bit more expansive and creative. That blade certainly was there, Shira.
Yeah, and I think they're seeing the poaches earlier now and throwing around them rather than trying to feed it through like they had been before.
Starting to become a real battle. Both sides really being forced to work in teeny tiny spaces. Credit to the handler juking of San Diego. The movement between their players at the back is very effective, and as we say, an expansive shot to Lindsay Lang, who must be feeling quite tired now. She's been pulling some double duty, coming out on offensive and defensive points. If my feeling is anything to go by, of course, we don't have full stats in this game, but we're trying to keep it up.
Trust your mental stats.
Believe in yourself. So, with the sun finally set behind us, we've got Brittany Cabriales there with the pull. The moon shining down here on these floodlit fields. It is a calm and windless night as Mondiaux puts up the disc around to fourth again, who finds herself very open in the handler space. Wildfire choosing to poach up into the field and allow those easy swings. Looks like perhaps a zone look for the first time this game. Very exciting. Perhaps that might see them get a change in momentum. Of course, the Eurostars roster don't play together that often, so zone is potentially a smart choice, but it looks to be a melt to man. But that is a great heads up play. Jasmine Childress coming in and causing mischief. Gabrielis picks it up, distributes into the centre of the field. There's a collision that I think caused Amanda Albee to lose focus and the disc. But uncontested foul. Melvin tapping it back in. Albee back to Gabrielis, to Childress, finds Pajunas, fakes the put. Oh, and then takes a big one. There's a pick call that's going to send it back, but that was a nice throw from Kirsten Pajunas, opening up the far side of the field. We hear some good heckles in the stands in front of us, Shira. Prickly pick, cactus pick, due to the rather jazzy hand sign alerting players on the field and fans of the stands as to what's going on. Gabrielis across to Pajunas, those two working nicely in the handler space. Cuts available in the downfield, but nice puncture into the centre. Albee, oh, and it could give go. Pajunas on the goal line, knocking on the door of another point, and it's fine in the centre of the end zone. Nice little celebration there. Audrey Brown reeling it in for Wildfire, and they level it up. So is that a momentum changer there, Shira?
Definitely. Is this the first tie of the game? I think so.
It is indeed, and what a celebration. Understated there from Brown, sporting a very jazzy pink headband. I'm not sure I could run around in that one. Looks to be very warming. But it has cooled off. Conditions now, it's a little bit chilly. You're you've actually you've added a layer, Shira. Are you chilly?
I've habituated a little bit, but I still describe weather here, cool weather, as chilly. I will not use the word cold or freezing, as I hear sometimes circulated through.
You did say about how people try and say that the weather here in sunny Southern California, SoCal, is it's very pleasant, I have to say. A little bit hot perhaps at times. In fact, I've actually been, so as one of my support roles here, I'm having the absolute pleasure of travelling around with this team for the whole tour, all 7 games. So I'm kind of a bit of a team mum. And we've definitely had some instances of sunburn, Shira, which my mother would be very, very unimpressed with. She says whilst covering her burn lines on her tank. So we've actually been, it's been a key thing of the pre-game preparation, has been applying moisturiser to some of the pasty European skin that's fallen foul to the hot burning rays of the Californian sun. When was the last time you were sunburned, Shira? I can imagine it's been a long time.
You know, I have tried to be pretty good about wearing daily sunscreen and a hat since I've been out here. Something about turning 30, I got smarter with my skin.
Well, I have to say you do look fresh as a daisy here in the booth, even though the local time is now stretching into the evening. Perhaps tiredness may be becoming a factor. Midweek game, of course. Plenty of the players from San Diego will have been having a full day of work, whereas the Eurostars had a full day of scrimmaging against each other and then chilling out at the beach. So, Bringel with the disc finds Shevlika. Shevitska back to Bringel. Nice expansive movement there to centre it, but not gaining many yards. Schneidl coming in from the downfield space, immediately puts it, can't be scooped up though. Dahl goes to the ground, but you can see the sad little lip there juts out. Not going to be quite the goods, but that was very much a catch and immediately launch from Betty Schneidl of Austria. So a turnover for the Eurostars gives San Diego an opportunity to take their first lead in this game. Lang on the disc, back to Iwamoto. Happy to take negative yards in their own end zone. Callahan country, as it's known. Big launch across Lindroth, of course. Would have been lovely to have a bid on that. Elemelek launches it deep, but that's going to be a great play from Grajnia Sheblitska. Have to say, Goose Helton, we have game point performance. We already talked about him coming in with his wife Kayla Helton to help prepare the European athletes for these games. He definitely made a solid college try to pronounce some of the European names that I myself are struggling to get my mouth around occasionally. Schneidl up to Bringel. Oh, but throws immediately into a sneaky Kelly Iwamoto, who seemed to be way ready for that pass. And look at the separation. Legs for days done, perhaps a little bit short of the goal line. She's going to call herself good, but there's going to be a disagreement. 2 white shirts in the end zone, and Iwamoto getting the block. Double happiness for Kelly. And so San Diego Wildfire Shira take their first lead in this game. How excited are we?
They've got to be so amped right now.
And I love that, just immediately launching it deep. Melissa Dunn really coming up big for San Diego Wildfire in the late stages of this matchup. We talked about Lang being the player of the first half, but
yeah, Dunn has endless energy. She doesn't let up. She'll go from one practice to another to pick up.
A player you know well from marking up against, perhaps?
Yeah, and she's so active in the San Diego Ultimate community. Everyone has played with her or against her at some point. It seems like she's such a positive force, both in how she plays, and she plays hard every time she takes the field, and just her energy. She's so inclusive and such an awesome ambassador to have in our sport.
So talking a little bit more about the San Diego local scene, you of course are wearing your wonderful Wolfpack jersey. What's it been like to be playing those sort of local, sort of different level of scrimmaging against your local sides?
Yeah, it's interesting. Since I moved out here in 2016, I haven't played competitive club season, but for the first 2 years I was out here, I got away with just playing beach for 2 years straight because there were so many beach opportunities. So that's been pretty fun.
Oh, that's another factor to move to SoCal, no?
Yeah.
If you love beach, which a lot of Europeans do, I have to confess.
Yeah. Winter League is January to March, Saturdays, 10 a.m. at the most beautiful beach in San Diego, so it's hard to complain.
Oh yes, although in summer I myself am actually sporting some blisters on my feet from one of the most beautiful beaches in San Diego. Bring flip-flops. That's my advice to you if you visit SoCal. But currently, so far so good for the Eurostars as they advance down the field, trying to level things back up. Toshnedova going to launch it, huge blading flick into the open arms of Sarah Melvin, and the pace on that offensive possession, Shira. My oh my.
Yeah, they came back with a vengeance after Wildfire tied it up.
And again,
a sick layout D from Annie No.
But unfortunately, she can't say no to that scoring pass. Oh yes, the puns are rife. Oh, we're starting to get some excitement for the fans in the stands. I believe that's Goose Helton with a t-shirt launcher about to come at us. Hopefully it doesn't manage to get it. Oh, a misfire. You know what that is, Shira? That's a lack of practice ahead of time, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if Game Point Performance trains for slingshot success.
Well, he's being replaced now. But do we know who that is? In the wonderful...
Will Griffin. He's a San Diego growler and was instrumental at getting the women's showcase series off the ground and running.
Well, and instrumental also in launching T-shirts into the stands here. He seems to be the only individual who's able to function the human-powered catapult. And as you can see, the stands now getting up and excited. But no, another misfire. The disappointment's rife. So clearly, Will, Goose, and who's the third individual on that catapult? Do we know? Do we have any inside information? We'll have to find out. But either way, maybe it's not time to give up the frisbees, lads. to become professional elastic catapulters. So, back to the action here. Wildfire getting us underway. Currently 11 apiece. Iwamoto finds the upfield. That's the lefty arm of the number 3, Frankel. Back to Iwamoto. Walker, huge launch. What separation for Ellen Melik. That is delicious play from San Diego Wildfire. The stuff of dreams, Shira, and they take a lead again, 12-11. Look at that launch from Walter, trying to send Ellie Melik to the moon, I think, on that one. And Hannah Walter there with the big arm.
One of the captains this year of San Diego Wildfire.
Indeed, and she actually is a pediatric physical therapist working alongside Julianne Jordan. We have two work twins on San Diego Wildfire. But it's oftentimes, I don't know if you've experienced this, Shira, but on ultimate fields, it's a case of, it's difficult to ever really truly get into perhaps the aggressive defensive mentality that you might do, because the people around you are just too nice. And not only is Walter incredibly good at ultimate, but an incredibly lovely human being working for a pediatric physical therapy clinic. As we see, talking of pediatrics, some wonderful shots. There you go, you got Felix as well. We've already seen Hugo and Henrietta fourth, and there's Felix. He's the owner of the Dude Cap, the Diego Ultimate Disc Experience, who, as we already mentioned, cancelled their league night to be in attendance here for this Eurostars game. So thank you, dudes and dudettes, I guess. Dudesses, non-binary dudes. Not sure what a non-binary dude would have the ending on, but If you've got any thoughts, get in touch with us on Twitter at Discow31 and at Shira 125, was it?
Yep.
125. An overthrow from the Europeans, can't quite connect with Sara Toshnerova. This is going to be picked up by Lindsay Lang. Nice centering pass. Ella Melik near side. Up into Brown. Call downfield's going to bring it back to Ella Melik. Just a brief pause, everyone able to get the breath back in their lungs. Ellis pops it around back to Lang. A no-look dump pass. Absolute jazzy stuff from the player we've already seen throw many a scuba in this matchup. A little bit of an overthrow, it's going to have to bid for it, but just too far. Unable to be scooped up by Hani Pajela. So Wildfire now need to come up with the goods on defense. But the Eurostars will be relieved to get their second look at offensive possession. Nice giving and going. Mondiaux opens up the arm. There's a little bit of contact on the disc, but not enough to prevent it from getting all the way to the back of the end zone for Amelia Kenneth to snaffle up for a score, leveling us back up at 12 apiece. And again, we see lethally rapid movement. Tizik had eyes on it, but didn't need to. Much better positioning for Amelia Kenneth. And you saw the little wobble as that one was, well, not released, as it sailed through the air. Not sure who got fingertips on that one, but they'll be, if it doesn't go Wildfire's way, I'm sure whoever managed it will be watching it back with gritted teeth, Shira.
Yeah, and it looks like Amelia Kenneth has only been playing Ultimate for 5 years, which is on the lower end for this Eurostars team. So that was phenomenal field awareness, way to track that disc down to score.
Indeed, the 25-year-old, she's not quite the baby of the Eurostars side. That honour goes to Livka Walczak, the German. But Kenneth plays for Reading Ultimate, who attended the World Club Championships in Ohio last year. It's delighted to see her out there on the fields. Has she got any medals to her name?
Oh, it looks like she's got a EUC mixed gold as well as a EBUC mixed bronze medals to her name.
Indeed she does. So she will have actually met up against the likes of Livka, the baby of the team, the junior team member as we refer to it in Europe, the JTM, often referred to as Water Boy or Water Girl. But Dina Domanskaya also present at the European Beach Championships. In fact, she was part of the team that knocked both Livka and Kenneth away from gold medal hopes with lethal effect. If you want to watch those games back, it's pretty much a textbook execution of how to absolutely just decimate an opposition, as we see Iwamoto decimate by going up that line with feisty cuts. Looking a little bit clogged up field now for Wildfire. They have to release it up, and oh my goodness, did you see the release point? Was that a lefty? Iwamoto showing some swagger there. Talk about expansivity in the early stage of this half. I think that one might have been swinging the needle back for Wildfire. Ella Melik opening up a nice big arcing backhand release. Walter near to the side. Lang is going to distribute once more, but just up in the mixer. What a redemption from San Diego Wildfire! Grimshaw, another second look. Oh my word, the composure of Brittany Grimshaw is just second to none.
Grimshaw just got it on the second attempt there.
That was awesome!
That was awesome, says the crowd.
Incredible focus of Grimshaw to come down with it as she's falling before she's stopped the spin.
Oh my word, that was just excellent. Absolutely excellent. I have no other words. The crowd saying, that was awesome! And I agree, random crowd heckler. So, Wildfire retain their lead now in the business end of this match. And the Eurostars have had a commendable performance thus far, but they're going to have to find a little something special in the tank, because Wildfire are firing on all cylinders right now. What do you think has been the tactical adjustment they've made, maybe, Shira?
I think they're hitting the unders when they're open. They're drawing their defenders deep and cutting under for a good 20-30 yard gain, and then letting the handlers do their quick, speedy work and dishes until the next one opens up. And again, I said it before, but they've really tightened up on their throwing decisions and not throwing into the poaches and just retaining possession for longer.
Well, that is one of the keys, really, as to why the North American side seem to dominate, is just possession. Really, just possession is great. And that perhaps speaks to the skill base, as we see a fiery, feisty Pajunas trying to get up in the mixer, defending Beck's fourth. Domanskaya is going to go up with two hands and is nearly redeemed. But what boxing again! We see San Diego Wildfire using their players to sandwich the Europeans. A defensive sandwich. 2 slices of Wildfire with a little bit of European filling in the middle. But a foul, uncontested, on the throw. Did sit for a long time. Just going to come back to Beck's fourth. So this match started to get very exciting indeed. I'm pacing here in the booth next to Shira. Nice inside shot, but slammed down into the turf by Wildfire. Great play from Christy Jarman. Nice launch from Grimshaw, but it pops out. Nearly a hero redemption of Pajunas' own, but just bounced off her chest. Disc given back to the Eurostars. Domanskaya picking up, matched with Elimelech, finds Gerner upfield, back to Mondiaux, puts it immediately. Oh, Melvin in acres of space. A nice, smooth, easy score for Team Europe. They level it back up at 15 and keep the dream alive of a win to open up the championship. This isn't a championship, it's an Americus Pro Cup. Nice execution there from Mondiaux. Beautiful, smooth flick put. And so tied up at 13 apiece. We've got another fun fact from Twitter. And it's about Audrey Brown. Shira, give us the goss.
Oh, I guess Audrey Brown, when she went to University of Santa Barbara, played for the Burning Skirts, her teammates called her Mini Claw.
Mini Claw.
We don't have a story for that. Should we try to make up our own?
Well, we've got a counterpoint, you see, from Caitlin Weaver, who says, "Who did? She was always the little menace." And I think that's a fair point. I did enjoy the little subtle celebration from Brown as she scored, I think, one of the breaks towards the end of the first half. Another nice shot there. Bit of a dark one as the sun has set now. Marco Müller, the German senior national team women's coach. Of course, the German women's national side were at the US Open. He'll be cheering on Anna Gerner and Liefke Wojcik. Liefke was actually not playing for the German women's team at the European level seniors this season, focusing instead on the under-24 division. So she would have played against Elimelech and Iwamoto before, because of course were phenomenally successful back in Heidelberg in Germany. Nice launch. Oh, a bit of a wobble there from Frankel, but that's a nice put. But there we go. Finally, a Eurostars sandwich preventing the pass for the intended target. But that one really arced and sat in the air, allowed the defenders the opportunity to come in and cluster and read the play and get nice and close to make that block. So Ines Bringel with the disc in hand, looking to fight for a break back to take a lead again and bring us within 1 of 15. Nice put to Melvin, who reaches up into the sky with a single arm. A secured catch for Dull. Looks around, has Bringel powering towards her for the under, but breaks to Schneidl, puts it immediately into the ground. Barbora Kundelita tries to keep it alive, but nothing she could do but just watch that one tumble into the turf. A nice launch from Lang. Eats up the yards, close to the goal line now. Now Lang across to Iwamoto, punches it into the arms of Frankel. Opens up the lefty, nice run down from Iwamoto, who immediately gets off to the races after releasing the disc. Around to Dunn. Back to Lang. Eurostars perhaps a bit wary of Dunn, who's been lethal in the end zone latter stages of this game. Frankel pops it into Lang. As a travel call. Bit of momentum carrying Lang into the end zone. Volchak on the mark. Pops it up into the space. What a grab from Kelly Iwamoto! That just came out of nowhere, just reaching behind her. Gymnastic reception from the number 20.
And I'm not quite sure she was Lang's intended receiver. I think the intended receiver cut the other way, and then Iwamoto came in.
Well, either way, Kelly Iwamoto, give yourself a pat on the back. Oh, Diaz did it for her. So we already mentioned that Iwamoto works at a DNA sequencing company with Kirsten Bajunas, but earned herself some creds during the season as well. She, of course, was present on the University of California, San Diego College Championship team earlier this season, the Psychos, with her fellow compatriot Dina Elamelek, who joined her as well for the World Under-24 gold medal in Germany. We talked about the social media presence of a lot of these players. Shira, do you follow any of them on perhaps some Instagram or Twitter or anything?
You know, I follow a few of the Wildfire women, their personal pages, and it seems like a good mix of kind of normal life, a good amount of nature, and a little bit of frisbee. But I don't follow the recent college grads. Maybe I should get on that train.
Well, one of the things that very much impressed me coming out of Under-24 World, so a lot of the players from all nations have taken the opportunity to perhaps make it into a bit of a Euro trip. So they, did some of the major tours. So Dina Elamelek is an individual who gets a lot of airtime in terms of her playing ability, that phenomenal mermaid catch, the fact she only started playing Ultimate at university. However, lesser known fact is that she's actually a phenomenally talented artist and has been doing the circuit of European art galleries, which, as a history and philosophy of art graduate myself, I can deeply, deeply appreciate. So if you want to get onto her Instagram presence to see her talents off the field, please do so. But Anna Gerner, they're going to ground to keep possession alive for the Eurostars as they eye up the business end of this match. A much needed offensive hold here to level us back up at 14 apiece. Gerner, centre of the field, finds Kenneth far side. Her fellow headband wearer Toshnerova, who recovered from a nasty cold but puts it into the palms of Tina Domanskaya for the goal. And we're at, is this universe point here, Shira?
Universe point, this is what we asked for.
Well, what more can you want from a match? Momentum swings all the way through. And this is going to be one for the books.
All right, everybody. Let's hear it for the Eurostars.
So it all rests on this point now. No power lines from the Eurostars. To say they're running two distinct sets, rotating between one and then the other. But I'm excited to see who we're going to get from San Diego Wildfire as they look to try and finish this one out and get a couple of points in the bag for Team America. We'll pull up the official scoring system here in the Americas Cup. But for now, we'll focus on the action at hand. Lindsay Lang there. Got Melissa Dunn, or Natalie as she's now known. Hannah Walter, Brittany Grimshaw, the woman who can catch literally any disc. Not the first time, but the second or third. Dina Elamelik, Kelly Iwamoto and Alex Diaz to finish up their line out. For the Eurostars, we've got Volchak, Dole. Running down onto the mark is Shablika, Grajna, Ines Bringel. Kelly Iwamoto, though, with the disc in hand, looking to advance. Walter. Bit of a trot there, taking the disc for a walk as Lang, but not called on the field. But a pick will pause play briefly. Iwamoto again with the disc in palm. Looking at the spread upfield. Not sure if that's a vertical or a horizontal stat. Look, let's be vertical. Nice high release from Iwamoto, but again a pick. Suspiciously free was Alex Diaz. On a nice bit of Macline skills there from Livka Volchak. Disc signaling there, using her hands to indicate a relatively high stall. Sure that won't fluster Iwamoto though. Such an experienced thrower. Another high release lefty backhand. Nice and smooth. A little bit of a tilt on it, but effective. An offhand from Lang to match. Walter surveys the downfield, puts one out into the space. Nice expansive throw done. Far side. Handlers very close together. A bit of double cutting, but able to execute cleanly. Oh, and that's a huge play for the Eurostars. Anna Kerner, such an experienced individual coming through the German junior scene. Gets up big. Can they punch it in for the win here? Bringel finds Melvin center of the field. Bit of poaching in the underspace from Wildfire. Melvin far sideline. Oh, I believe that fake even. Raja into Bringel. Elamelik tries but doesn't come up with the goods. Empty-handed, she'll go. Is it going to be good? It is! A score, and that's the win for the Eurostars. What a game that was. And delight, undeniable stuff. Huge plays, fighting to the last. Elamelik coming up empty-handed, so close, and what a throw from Ines Bringel, just over the fingertips of Alex Diaz.
It was phenomenal defense by Alex Diaz. She got positioning, she went up when she should have. She was just one step, maybe too close to the disc.
Well, if you had to use one word, Shira, to describe that game, what would it be?
Energetic, for sure. Both teams came out firing. They worked hard to get the disc. They worked hard on D, and they fired the crowd up, and I think inspired a lot of youth in the stands, which is one of the major goals, I think, of this tour.
Definitely, definitely. I have to say, I'm so impressed by San Diego Wildfire's mental composure in that game. We saw the Eurostars go up several breaks in the first half, and then they just ground it back, just eking out all of the juice they could. It started the campaign, end stages of the first half. They got a couple of breaks, some nice celebrations. They kept the energy high, and then see them take that lead in the midsection of the second, just grinding it, trying to fight tooth and nail. Huge play from Anna Gerner to get the disc back for the Eurostars in that final point. But my oh my, what a way to start us off here. I can't wait for the rest of the games. You going to be tuning in, Shira?
Absolutely. I was planning on maybe tuning in when it was convenient before tonight, but I am hooked. I'm invested. These women are amazing to watch.
They certainly are. So we're going to have our Rolga-sponsored play of the game. Let's get eyes on the replay. It's going to be Lang Grimshaw with that hero catch. No one expected Brittany Grimshaw to come down with that. Such a phenomenal play. so good all game long was Grimshaw. Plenty of goods for the highlight reel after that match, I'm sure. It's been an absolute pleasure to bring you the coverage up here in the booth. I think we're going to try and maybe get a listen in. You'll see the U-shaped spirit circle down here in front of us. Actually opening up the spirit circle that's normally closed just between the two teams. They've invited down the fans in the stands to come and listen in to the discussions being had. I'm not sure if we're going to quite get the audio, but we'll try our very best to listen in.
And on your way out, don't forget to grab some Eurostars Tour merchandise. The table is still up. They accept cards and cash. Get your stylish Eurostars swag.
I believe we're trying to get Bex forth a microphone so we can all listen into the discussion. Oh no, we're coming on down. It's like a throwback to British television of days gone by. San Diego Ultimate Community, come on down. If you don't know what I mean, then please search for Bruce Forsyth's The Price is Right. Are you familiar with that show yourself?
Oh,
Shira?
every day off school, 10 a.m., Bob Barker, I was in.
Oh, you had your own version in the States, did you?
Absolutely.
Exciting.
I think it's still on, actually. I know Drew Carey was hosting for a while.
Have you ever played it back at home? When we tried to figure out the basket of goods and, you know, what they're worth?
Oh, that game. I wonder if that might be a different game. I can't remember what. The Price is Right was one game show, and then what you're describing is probably something else that I can't think of over on our side of the pond.
Who knows? Who knows? It's all different. It's very different.
Yours is probably more refined in some way or another.
Well, I mean, I'm now furiously looking up the history of the phrase "come on down," the catchphrase used to invite audience members, but we're going to invite us into the cycle here.
Well, there's an orange thing, there's an orange wind-up thing by the first table.
Okay. I will make you happy.
That was a really awesome game. You came out with such fire and intensity and really challenged us to kind of reset, get a little bit out of our heads, focus in, and match our intensity here. I love seeing you go after every disc without really out.
And then all the girls like.
It was so fun, and it forced us to adjust both our offense and defense.
You wanted to put it on. No. We don't have any free weekends.
So we see there some gifts being given, little spirit awards, perhaps for most valuable players there. Shira, do you reckon?
Yeah, I guess so. Is the Eurostars team, are they bringing the same Spirit Award to all their teams? Are they getting it in the city they're visiting? Do you know the behind the scenes to their Spirit Award?
I believe it's all consistent. I haven't seen any purchasing being going on, no secret shopping out of my eyesight, that's for sure. I've been doing some frantic Google searching, Shira, to check our facts. We do like to be accurate with our factage where we can here on the live stream. The Price is Right British version was not, in fact, Bruce Forsyth originally. It was Leslie Crowther. But it was also presented by old Brucey Bruce at some points. But the originator, I believe, was Bob Stewart, the creator of The Price is Right. But that is the where "come on down" the phrase does come from. So there you go, facts for you, bringing you ultimate coverage and trivia knowledge. You know, I'm sure there'll be a pub quiz at some point that will be useful for that at some point. But the US version was created in the 70s, 1972, with Bob Barker. And The Price is Right, the British version that I was familiar with, Shira, it went to air in 24th of March 1984. There you go, facts for you. a little bit of random knowledge.
And yeah, it looks like the only hosts have been Bob Barker and Drew Carey over here in the US.
Well, troopers, I'm sure. So, in terms of how this the open format, this U-shaped spirit circle, how do you think that's working out so far?
It looks great. I'd never seen that before. I think it's a phenomenal way to bring the crowd into the mix. It's such an important conversation after the game, and when we think of the mission, the purpose, the goals of this tour is to engage with the crowd, and as we can see in front of us, the crowd has gathered towards the front of the stands and they're invested.
And so as the two teams finish off this game, I think you called it right, Shira, and you've already mentioned the fact that we have a lot of youth players here having this example of excellent spirit. What a fiery and intense game. The motto of San Diego Wildfire is love and trust. And I think they demonstrated that perfectly here. We wish them all the best with the USAU season. Hopefully we'll see them perhaps able to be present at their home nationals here in San Diego, which I'm sure many people will be keen to fly out to. So we see them all settle up for a selfie. Oh, sorry, no. Photo op out front. Smiling faces all around. Well, I can't keep the smile off my face, Shira, and I doubt I will for several hours to come. We'll be going off to do a little fundraiser now for San Diego Wildfire. If you perhaps are watching this live stream but haven't yet made it out to the fields, then please do check Twitter to find out where you can come and support San Diego Wildfire. We're going to go have some food and some drinks, some refreshments. Will you be there, Shira? So you can sign some autographs for your burgeoning commentary career?
Yeah, I don't know if I earned that tonight. I might head over to support these women and get to see them up close and hear how they felt.
Excellent. Well, I think it's been an absolute pleasure to call this game with you, Shira. You've done excellently well. It's been such a wonderful pleasure to have TVX alongside us as well. You can see the name creds there on your screen. Special thanks, of course, also to the American Ultimate Disc League supporting us, the San Diego Growlers. I've been Hannah Pendlebury for Shira Klein. It's been a pleasure to bring you this opening match to the Eurostars Tour. But make sure you get your eyes on the next 6 games in this series. The next one coming up will be Seattle Riot. If you're enjoying the live stream, feel free to donate as well. Game 2 will be Thursday, August 15th at 7 p.m. Pacific time. I believe that's the time zone of Seattle. Shira's nodding her head alongside me, but you can see all the rest of the games. Eurostars Tour on Twitter, Instagram, and of course .com. So you want to go make your donations there. We'll see you again, I'm sure, very soon. Catch up with all the action for the Eurostars Tour up until the end of August. We'll see you soon.